You'd be surprised. It's Moscow is absolutely amazing, and
I believe it's beautiful, but I also believe that it's a communist regime for a reason.
No. Hold on. Oh my goodness. Okay. It's libertarian. It's like hardcore libertarian. It's so far right of the Republican Party. It's no longer communist. That's the one thing that most Americans think, is that Russia is actually still communist, and it's absolutely not. It's 100% not. The Communist Party holds about 20% of all seats in the. There was an election just this year, and in September actually, and they won a few more seats, but they only hold about 20% of the seats. Does that make sense?
Do you believe that you're getting accurate, truthful information in Russia, that it really is truly libertarian, or is this, from your experiences, what you've seen?
I've been here for 6 years. Like, the shelves are full of American products, like everything. You could get anything here. The one thing I miss is cottage cheese, and that's about the only thing I can't get here. Yeah.
I'm not heard about that.
So,
can you imagine cottage cheese across a boat to Russia? Oh, by the time it got there. Oh, cottage curdle. But
so just vote with your feet. I mean, you guys have a choice. There's three choices right now. Big Brother's watching. You just basically get to choose. And there's what's called sexpionage. And come here, and if you have enough clout, somebody will come up to you, and you'll have a wonderful life. So.
I'm sorry. Did you say sexpionage?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Watch the movie.
Are you married in Russia?
I'm going through divorce, actually. So.
From a Russian?
Yeah, I was on a major television show called Let's Get Married in Davai Pojemensaya in 2016, and the person that was on there, I married. So, but we've never.
Did it happen to be a sleeper agent?
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah. So she's actually a nurse for the police. So yeah, I've never actually kissed her. So it was all to become a Russian citizen, or become temporary resident. So yeah, we're going through a divorce right now, a nasty divorce.
Sean, I'm not sure if it's your camera, if your face is actually that red right now.
Oh, it's probably camera. So.
Yeah, well, I'm a world traveler, so I mean, I don't have a problem with Russia or any places.
Right.
Russia's a beautiful country, and they're very nice people, just like anywhere in the world. I mean, governments are governments. That's a different issue. I think how governments treat each other. Both Ray and I are ex-military, so we have certain views about our country, and in certain ways. And I can't obviously say that I think China is better than Russia, or Russia is better than the United States, or any of those places. I think every country has issues, has problems, even their economic problems is. I mean, mostly what I hear from Travis is kind of Leninist, basically. Like he has a very big likingness or to Lenin, or the way Lenin thought, and the way.
Yeah. But I mean again, I'm basically, I'm 20 years too, or 30 years too late. I mean, it's just like this. It's super capitalist here. It's like so America is an oligarchy. Scientifically, America is an oligarchy, and so is Russia. So
it's a what?
Oligarchy. The United States and Russia.
It's a corptocracy. Like it's around companies run the government. The government doesn't run companies. So this is what he's going to say, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that statement. Yeah, I had to look up the definition. Sorry, it was too big of a word for me. But
yeah,
but yeah, I would agree with that statement.
I had no idea, Mel, that I would be on this type of a show tonight. What I can say, I didn't know we were going to go in this direction at all, right? So Wade knows I've done deeper work in the military than maybe he has, and so I can in no way, if I'm contacted, in no way, the way I spoke, being approached by anybody in the government about my previous work that I've done, or any of the work I've done for the U.S. government, based on this conversation. So you guys heard the way I talked, obviously, yeah. Right? So yeah, so if I've approached in any way, I need to know I have the backing here for that.
Oh, absolutely.
But Yeah. So,
I mean, there's a real possibility that we're going to get a knock on the door. I mean, I'm not.
No, you guys don't even know. I've had knocks on my door all my life because I did that work. Okay. Okay. So
me too. So, yeah.
Yeah. So there's really not, and I'm also connected all over the world. I have networks in Saudi Arabia. I have networks in the Middle East. I have networks in Asia. I'm connected all over the world. So, people approach me because they're like, wow, why does he have contacts in these countries, right? So, okay. So anyway, what's going on? It was fascinating, Mel. You've had some really interesting. You had the Australian person come on, and now you've had Travis come on. I can respect any people's views. But I mean, I think we're going to agree to disagree pretty much on this. We're going to agree to disagree on some of these particular issues.
Come visit.
Do I think? Yeah, I mean,
and that's okay. That's what we're here for. We all agree to disagree.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
me and Mel went at it. We'll be fine.
Oh, well, we're already fine.
Yeah. I mean, it's perfectly okay to have difference of opinions.
Yeah, it's perfectly.
Treasonous ideas, though? Maybe not.
Well, I mean, Travis, you're putting yourself in a really awkward situation. I kind of see you like a Strange, like Jordan, like putting yourself in the same situation that he was put in when he got into a weird situation, as well as when. But you weren't you're a lawyer, not a previous military intelligence person or anything that I don't know how you would have information that would put you in jeopardy. But I could see how you could feel that way. But I mean, to have actual information that put you in jeopardy, that would be like having classified information.
I am curious as to why you feel you could be killed by the United States anytime, anywhere. Well, obviously you're accurate in that statement. We can kill anybody anytime, anywhere, whether it's legal or not. We have the physical ability to. I'm just curious why you feel that way.
No, it was in the appeal. The appeal in September 2020. I basically I found the article in the appeal for refugee status, and then I had it translated and I put it in for the appeal. So it's that.
So you just found a statement in the allowable reasons, and you went with that statement.
No, it's in the law. I'm a lawyer. I mean, the thing is that my focus. I've always been fascinated. Number one, I've been always fascinated with the peace movement. I became a lawyer because I knew there was no jobs in the peace movement, and then and I did tons and tons of research on that, and then I continued to do that research. So it's easy for me to find that research. So. Yeah, I'm really concerned. And I actually had one of my contacts from 2015, one of my friends, he basically says, it's what's called a kolpak. There's a book called The Interloper. It's about Lee Harvey Oswald in Belarus. He lived in Belarus in Minsk for 3 years. And I'm under a kolpak, which is basically a dome. And I'm well aware that I'm in a dome, and it's a beautiful dome. And somebody's told me that he related it to Lee Harvey Oswald because I share the book liberally because of my copyright views. And he said, if you leave, basically, then you're going to be under the CIA dome. And he basically says, don't leave. And I know that. So. The worst thing.
So are you saying the dome is like the Russians watching you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the greatest human intelligence in the entire world. If you start studying the KGB, as you guys probably have, they knew everything about the United States, and they do now. Like I mentioned on there, there's 3.1 million Russians in America, and it's called active measures. The United States has psyops. Russia has active measures. So yeah. So yeah.
So, do you think that you're being watched because you're an American in Russia, actively trying to subvert America, and they're trying to see what benefits you have? Or do you think you're being watched just because you're an American? Or do you think you're being watched because you have some sort of information that's vital to them?
Oh, no, I have no information that's vital. I actually did find a cybersecurity document in Washington, D.C. It was just on the street, actually, though, and I tried to give it to the Washington Post. I have a video of it, and they refused to give it. They refused to take it, and well, actually, I did give it to them, actually, and then I brought it here, and then I gave it to WikiLeaks, but it was nothing important. I have no information.
So there, WikiLeaks gets involved. Yeah, so no, I did make that interconnection between WikiLeaks. And
no, but there was nothing. I mean, it was just one document. It was a PDF. It was nothing
okay, so
special.
you never got anything to WikiLeaks, so
no, I sent it to him. No, I
know
sent
that
it.
you've been giving information to WikiLeaks.
I said no. It was just one document that I had found on the street. I was doing Uber at the time. I mean, it's not a big deal. I have no information. I've never worked for any intelligence service. I've been a useful idiot until somebody deemed me useful here, one of my friends. And so that's the thing, is I've always been a useful idiot. And I've always consistently said that I was a useful idiot. So.
Okay, so I have another question, and
Sure.
I do not want to offend you with this question, and that's rare for me. I
Yes.
just have to ask it.
Yes.
Do you have a history of mental health? Are you perfectly sane?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't something else. Okay.
Yeah. That's always the trump card. So if they can't get anything else on you, they always go to mental health. So everybody.
Yeah, that's why I was asking if they can.
Yeah. No. I mean,
any...
like people in general.
Yeah.
Like if the argument is if you can't argue on anything else, on the merits or anything else, then there's always that trump card.
Right.
So,
right.
yeah.
So I want to make sure that is not even an option there, because I am so utterly baffled. And that's not being anything against you. I'm just so utterly baffled that...
There's more of us. There's many more of us. So and there will be many.
How many more of us? How many more of you?
I don't know. I mean, we're spread throughout Russia. So there's like.
I mean, do you guys have like weekly group meetings, or?
It's 12, 13 time zones. I mean, it's the largest country in the world. So there was a huge purge.
Do you guys have groups in the state?
Well, like for example, there's several people here. Like there's a speechwriter for the Washington, who is a speechwriter for the White House. He's in St. Petersburg. I know him. There's other people. There's very, very few people. We connect. I mean, hell, Steven Seagal is a Russian citizen. So he's one person. There's other people too. There's a small community, and most people were purged. Most people were purged from all countries, including the United States, because of COVID. But there's very few Americans left. So, yeah.
So do these people for example, the writer for the Washington or DC, and the only reason I bring him up is because you mentioned him.
Yeah.
Do they share the same goal?
Well, he blocked me when he found out that I went to the North Korean embassy. So, yeah, we're no longer Facebook friends. So, yeah.
So why did you go to North Korea?
No, I didn't. I went to the embassy. I went to the embassy. I've never been to North Korea. I want to go see it because it's we grew up in the Cold War. We were all about the same age, but I missed it. I actually went into the United States Peace Corps in 1999. The day that President Putin became president, I went into the United States Peace Corps in Ukraine. So, yeah. So, I mean, I missed the Soviet Union. I want to see what it's like, and that's the only country pretty much that you can do that. I sure don't want to stay there. Oh my God. I mean, the collectivism here is bad enough. I can't imagine what it'd be like in North Korea. So
your interest in North Korea isn't aiding them. Your interest is seeing their country.
No, the interest is actually in aiding them. Absolutely, 100%.
So you want to aid North Korea against the U.S.?
Absolutely, 100%. If you look at, yeah.
Who hurt you? So,
I grew up.
seriously.
I grew up Mormon, which is the largest recruitment center for the CIA is BYU, Utah, and I've actually been outside of the NSA, in Lehigh, and so I grew up like I have this like missionary zeal. So, yeah, it's just, and now I'm extremely anti-Mormon. I'm trying to get the Mormon Church actually kicked out of Russia because of that reason. So
not only are you trying to bring the United States down, you're trying to bring the Mormon Church down.
Because they're the largest recruiters of the CIA, BYU. Yeah. and I've been to the people. The person actually that kicked out. The person that kicked out. They're not kicked out technically, but the person that kicked out the Scientologists, the Orthodox professor that helped kick them out. I've met him personally. So yeah, and I encouraged him to do that. And things go slowly here, and so I just have been doing it on my own. I've outed a lot. I've outed at least 2 or 3. I have an online page about it, so I've outed several people.
Travis, I'm curious, how are you making a living there?
Teaching English. It's the default, and then I also have some legal stuff. Things have turned around as soon as I survived the purge. So yeah, I've been teaching English with some really incredible students. Really incredible students. Things just fall into place here. That's the way things work here. So it's an amazing country. Oh my goodness. And the propaganda, it's just, you can't imagine the propaganda, the American propaganda about Russia. It's so one-sided. So yeah, I mean, Moscow's just incredible. And if you have something of value, and the thing is there's this beautiful book. I can't remember what it's called again, right off the top of my head. But basically, what happened in the 1930s, there was, of course, the Depression, and tons of Americans came over. Tons and tons of Americans came over, and then Stalin systematically killed every single one of them, generation by generation. But there were thousands of Americans here. They actually had a baseball team in Moscow. And I'm encouraging, and that was actually my 3rd letter to Putin's inner circle, was basically, my 4th letter to Putin's inner circle. And then, pretty much 300 or 400 of the Duma is basically we got to prepare, because the United States is imploding, and we basically need to prepare these kolpaks, these domes for the American refugees that are going to come. And this time, hopefully, there won't be the violence of Stalin.
So you say that you sent letters to Putin's inner circle.
Keep it going. I'm going to go smoke a cigarette. Because
yeah.
Make it 3.
To step away for a second.
So you said you send letters to the inner circle.
I'm staying. Yeah, I'll be back.
Yeah.
How do you have access to the inner circle of Putin?
It's a PDF I found, so that's all. I can send you the PDF.
So what, you found like a PDF with a bunch of email addresses?
No, it's just a PDF of who's in the inner circle. So that's.
Oh, and you went and found their contact information and sent them information.
Yeah, and then I hired a translator to find their contact information, and then it's out of date, but yeah, so.
So how do you know the information you're sending to the inner circle is getting to the inner circle?
I get responses, like by mail.
You do get responses?
Yeah, absolutely. The first one was by the FSB, and then the second one was basically, we don't like your intellectual property idea. The third one, kicking out the Mormons, I've never received a response. And then the fourth one, in regards to the Kolpak, which was in relation to my refugee status, I never received a response because, well, I received lots of responses actually. So, yeah, but yeah, it's just you send a letter in the mail. It's like America. I mean, the thing is you got to realize it's an alien country. Russia is. I have a book. It just got published called "Why Don't Russians Smile." It's at whydon'trussiansmile.com, and at the very end, the person that created the Cold War doctrine of containment, Kennan, I think his name was, he says that I don't think Americans are humble enough to ever understand Russians, and I'm paraphrasing a lot. It's just they're just so different. They're so amazingly different, and it's so difficult for me here. Oh my God, you have no idea how difficult it is here, because they are so alien. And I think a lot of it is, Sean, you've lived in other countries and you've lived across the world. It's deceptive because these people are white, and you think that they think just like you because they're white, but oh my God, they're so different. Yeah, so.
You know, you just taught me something. I was not aware that Steven Seagal has a Russian citizenship.
Yeah, there's a lot.
According to Wikipedia, which it's just Wikipedia, he was granted both Russian and Serbian citizenship in 2016, and in 2018 he was appointed Russia's special envoy to the U.S.
Yeah, there's a guy who's a fighter. He's a WW. Thank you. And I didn't know you taught me something. I didn't know he was actually a Serbian He was Serbian. One of the lawyers that I work with actually has met him recently, like two of the lawyers that I've worked with. Not recently, 2019. But there's also an MMA fighter that actually is that was kind of a small politician here. So it's basically how much you have to offer them, and the door's open. So, yeah. And
have you offered the Russians anything?
Yeah, just basically teaching English to some incredible people. Oh my God, you have no idea. Just teaching English and bringing America to Russia. So, because they're marking, we grew up in Pampers, right? We grew up in Pampers. The Russians have only had capitalism for 30 years. So, like the opportunities you have as an American. I mean, I used to live I lived outside of Moscow. So Moscow's 13 million people. It's a huge metropolitan area. It's huge. It's like 4 million more than New York. And you have Los Angeles, you have Washington, D.C., you have Hollywood, you have Silicon Valley in one place. And there's so many opportunities. And people just kind of take Americans for granted here. Well, they see them as targets for like, well, how can this person help me? But you go outside, like within like 25, 30 miles, and you're like a god here. You truly are. Like people just are like, oh, you're American? And like I would have teenagers, like groups of teenagers, like in like these cafes and stuff, and I'd say there I was American. Like this was in 2015, 2016. And they're like, oh, you're American? And you were just, I mean, it's just amazing here. And then the people that just kind of fall into place. And if you're here long enough, like there's a woman who has an American organization here. She's a lawyer, and there was a woman who was basically had to leave about the same time that I came in 2015. And she said that, you know, I got to be careful with what I say when I return, because if I'm not careful with what I say when I return to the United States, I may never be able to come back to Russia. And it's true. There's a lot of things here that are just, you start understanding the way things really work here. And it's amazing. The human intelligence is just mind-boggling. So you guys, when I say you guys, Americans, you guys have propaganda is, your soft power is number one. It's the best in the history of the world. And Russia's is human intelligence. That's their trump card.
So where do you live at in Russia? An apartment, a house? I mean,
you have a special apartment. So
you have a special apartment?
Well, I just want to go into details, but it's a regular apartment.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
A regular apartment.
It's rent controlled or something? I mean, because you got to pay rent, right?
Yeah, there's no rent control anymore, so it's all capitalism. It's all like there's
no, I mean, yeah, just like anywhere else, you have to pay for your apartment.
Yeah, there's like there's Craigslist basically. It's called cian.ru, cian.ru. That's the biggest site, and you just basically find a site. But you start understanding the way things work here, and you start understanding that. I mean, I could show you my Troika card. It's my Metro card. I could prove that I'm Russian. In Russia, so. Yeah.
Well, I was just curious because with your fear of America and you stay you're under this dome where you're being watched and the FSB and your contacts with the internal circle of Putin, are you living in something that you think is like bugged, or did they put you in a special apartment so they could watch you all the time? Things like that is what I was curious about.
Or you just Big Brother is watching.
I
mean, honestly, guys, Big Brother is watching you. It's like. The thing is that you got to choose your big brother. I mean, if it's not the United States, it's going to be China or Russia. So
right.
I've never had any intelligence experience like at all. I have no idea if my apartment's bugged. I have no idea.
But they didn't put you in a specific apartment saying you have to live here.
No, I had a translator and he found this apartment for me, and that's it. So, yeah, it's unfortunately it's not where I want it to be. It's not like. There's circles. Like Russians think in circles. Americans think in like north, west, east, south. Russians think in circles. It's part of their history. And unfortunately, I'm not in the circle line. I want to be within the main circle line, but I'm in the periphery. I'm in the second circle line of the metro. So, yeah.
And what do you get by being in the main circle line?
Oh, I'm just saying, like, I'm just saying, you asked me about my apartment. I'm just saying that,
Yeah.
because you could basically go like 15 minutes and you could be anywhere in the center of.
It's about the convenience, yeah.
It's a convenience.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like, yeah.
So it's like neighborhoods here. You know,
Yeah.
some
Oh,
neighborhoods
absolutely.
are better than other neighborhoods. That's
Yeah.
what you're talking about.
Oh, but
Circle.
except the people have lived there for generations, and you're always an interloper. You're always going to be that outsider, which is really hard. And so the choice is to find a handler, basically. It's basically get married, or, always be an outsider. So,
Well, you just used an intelligence term, a handler.
yep. I know a lot of intelligence terms. Blowback. It's amazing what you can learn on Wikipedia. So, I've been doing Wikipedia since 2014. I've been actively, like, spreading anti-American propaganda, I would say, since 2014. So there's an article on Wikipedia about the fall of the Soviet Union, the prediction of the Soviet Union, that I wrote in 2007. I created it. I wanted to do one about the United States, but I knew that everybody would just, on Wikipedia, would, like, delete it. But yeah, yeah.
I am so fascinated with this, on how you went from an American to wanting to purposely subvert America and everything you're going through to do it.
Just watch the movie Miss Sloane. I mean, in the movie, it's a Washington, D.C. lawyer, and everybody's asking, why are you doing this? There must be some reason that you're doing this. And she says, no, it's basically, it's a moral thing. So everybody tries to find a reason why, and it's just a moral thing. That's all. Miss Sloane, it's a brilliant movie. I love Americans. You guys are great. You smile. You're obsessed with race. It's just awesome. I just love it. Honestly, I just love, like, I miss Americans so much. I really do. It's so hard here. It's so hard. Every day is just a mountain. Every single day. So, and the thing is, I'm here for you guys too. You gotta walk with. Sometimes you gotta vote with your feet. And I've seen this for 15 to 20 years. I've seen this car accident coming, and I've just had no voice. And, it's like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen The Time Traveler's Wife, but there's a scene, you should read the book, but there's a scene where the child watches his mother die, basically, in a car accident. And he's powerless to stop it. And I've watched this, guys, for years, and I've known this is going to happen. What's playing out? I mean, who could have predicted Trump? Oh my God! And who could have predicted all these other things? But it's playing out. The story's the same. It's just with plot twists. So yeah. So I got this book, like How to Think Like a CIA Spy or something. I've been listening to it on my phone, and so you guys are always supposed to, like, listen, like, let the person speak. So I think I've done a lot of speaking. So.
Well, don't worry, I wasn't a profiler. I didn't do that work. I wasn't a profiler, so I'm not thinking like a profiler, but I did do work for the government.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But,
any wet
yeah.
jobs?
I'm sorry?
Any wet jobs?
I didn't.
He said, "Are you coming to visit, Sean?"
No, I'm coming to visit. No, I'm not afraid to go to any country. I can go to any country. I'm not afraid to go to any country. But, no, I'm just, he was saying, we're listening to him so that we're like thinking in some way about what it is. I think he's free to have his own opinions with that. What I would say is that, I mean, if you're going to live in a foreign country and you're going to ask Americans to vote one way or another, but you're living in another country, I don't really know where you can get the authority to do that. But, I mean, improve the country you're in. I mean, instead of saying you want to subvert the country you left, I would be more in favor of that.
Tulsi Gabbard, 2024.
Yeah. So, well, I guess if she comes to your country, yeah. But you're choosing to leave your country, so.
Yeah.
You're choosing to leave your country, not improve it. So if you're going to another country, you're going to improve it, Improve. If that country is perfect, then stay there. That's my opinion.
Why have you given up your U.S. citizenship?
But I gotta go. Yeah, I gotta go.
Thanks, Mr. Cassidy. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks, Sean. Travis, why haven't you given up your U.S. citizenship?
Because I was told not to. It's really smart not to.
So, do you hate America?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's fair. I mean, it's a fair statement, so. So, okay.
And the thing is it's called collective responsibility. So there's a theory that, what is it called? It's really funny. It's like so basically there's a book called Hitler's Willing Executioners. I'll bring up Hitler. Here we go. There's a joke about that. So basically, it's the idea that basically it wasn't the people that got murdered in the Nuremberg trials, that got assassinated in the were killed in the Nuremberg trials, that were responsible for the deaths of millions of Jews. It was the people themselves, and that's the same with the United States. Is that it's the people themselves. And so I completely disagree with what Sean said earlier. Is it's not the people, because even in a dictatorship, it's a dark mirror. So it's a dark mirror, so even dictatorships have to bend to the will of the people. So
that's like the opposite of the definition of a dictatorship, though. Because isn't Putin the one that has the free voting that isn't so much free that he always gets reelected?
Well, I could refer you to an incredible scholar. His name's Paul Robinson, and he basically argues that the election meddling usually happens at the beginning, like Navalny, the darling of the racist darling of the West. If you've heard of him, he basically was poisoned allegedly, and so he basically his party was kicked out of the election, and he was kicked out of the September election. And the communists won decisively. Not decisively. I mean, United Russia is still in charge. So, but the Communist Party has won more seats. So, anyway, maybe that's off tangent, but so, but yeah, it is. I mean, Russia is a democracy, absolutely 100%. It's just a different kind of democracy, and in many ways, it's more of a democracy than the United States. There's several parties. They vie for power. So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You know, we always know that the U.S. media will they feed us food, they feed us the stories, things like that. We always know if we want to get the real view of the world outside of it, we're going to go to like BBC, we're going to go to somewhere else, some other news agency in the world, but it never would have occurred to me to go to the Russian news agency that they would be less biased than the American news.
Oh no, they're extremely biased, absolutely 100%. Like I mentioned earlier, there's the two politicians that I don't care much for, and there's so many stations here, so many television stations, so many radio stations. So it's really I call Russia, especially Moscow, New York City on crack cocaine. It's like I was in the mall. It's called Moscow City. It's the most beautiful mall. It's like a little China, and it's the most beautiful mall. It's like 4 stories. It's gorgeous, and like I said, come visit. It's amazing if you can. I don't know if you can.
Moscow City Mall is what you called it?
Alpha Mall. Alpha Mall.
Alpha Mall. Alpha City.
Yeah, in Moscow City. I was there, and it's just the most beautiful thing, because the thing is that, like, for example, the internet here is infinitely better than the United States. The banking system here is infinitely better. The transportation system is just like 100 years ahead of Russia, of America rather. So, yeah. I've heard China. I've never been to China, but I've heard it's just incredible. I've heard it's even better. It's like so futuristic. So.
So now that we're off air,
yeah.
If you were to accomplish subverting the United States, what does that in a perfect world look like to you? If you could create a plan to accomplish something, what is that?
That the United States accepts their where they're at right now, where most analysis people already know. is that that Americans are second place. And just accepting that. So that would be ideal. We're never going to end war. That just is. So hey, and Mel, I wanted to tell you, it wasn't an attack on you. It was just I was not trying to attack you on air.
Oh no, no.
So earlier, so no, it's just, yeah. Go ahead. She cut off.
She froze, and that's a great picture of her freezing too. It's just like,
sorry, I don't know if you guys can hear me. My computer keeps freezing.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't care if people attack me on air. I get attacked on air all the time. That's kind of what I signed up for.
Yeah, I didn't see it as an attack, and honestly, I totally Black Lives Matter all the way. I'm very democratic. I'm far left, and I totally support 100% like everything that minorities are doing. So yeah, 100%.
So I have so many questions. I could spend like the next 6 hours just asking questions. There's so many into this rabbit hole I could go. I love learning about other cultures and other places, things like that. My admin's in Europe. I ask her to send me pictures as she's walking down the street. Show me what you're seeing, because I like just seeing somewhere different. I'm not there. She sends me pictures. She walks down to the store. I see pictures of a house or pictures of a garden she saw, because it's just not here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's always just so much curiosity. Like when I travel, I don't go to the touristy spots. I like to go down the back alleys. I like to, go to the back neighborhoods. I want to experience the culture.
Mm-hmm.
But I am so confused on how it can, from being an American with everything we hear about Russia.
Yeah.
On how Russia can be so much better. Do you have an example of something that's so much better in Russia?
I mentioned it earlier. It's you're a superstar here, absolutely 100%. So, as an American.
Well, the same thing could be said in Australia. In Australia, they love American men.
Yeah. Well, the reason I'm here is because Russia is the only country that could destroy the United States.
So you feel that if there was a war, that Russia would come out on top, and you would be safer in Russia than the United States?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Because one bomb and 80% of the Russian economy is gone. So.
But why do you feel safer in Russia?
Oh, I don't feel safer. Oh my God, no. I mean, I feel safe. I feel. I mean, no. It's like. No. So it's all about the ideology. That's what it comes back to.
So you align more with the ideology in Russia than you do the U.S. So you feel more comfortable there because of that.
Yeah, because there's 133 people that are being fed anti-American propaganda. So yeah, so I have a voice here. I never had a voice before. So.
And you have a voice because you can communicate with Putin's inner circle.
I send letters.
And they send you comments back, so you feel like your voice is heard.
Yeah, I'm a sociologist. It's simple. Like, for example, I don't know. It's whatever.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm very, very interested. I'm honestly interested.
Yeah. So, the last day that I was in the Peace Corps, it was September of 2002, and I was mad at the Filberkorn was her name. She was this feminist person, and so I decided I had done some research about how the CIA had was allowed to be in the Peace Corps, right? And so I had a translator, Natasha. I had her translate this, and then the last day in the airport while I was leaving with my future wife, who potentially, that's a whole other story, but anyway, I basically...
Is that the one from the TV show, or a different one?
Yeah, it's a different. I've been married 3 times.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So, this is the one I was married with for 10 years. So, anyway, in the airport, I dropped off, like, about, I'd say, I don't know, it was probably at least 70 letters to media, planting seeds basically. And so basically saying that, the Peace Corps is, on the CIA payroll. And then in December, Russia kicked out the Peace Corps. So are they related? They could be. So, yeah. So the thing is that
Russia thought that Peace Corps really was part of the CIA, so they got rid of the Peace Corps.
Yeah, the thing is that it's like the Mormon missionaries. It's like 99.9% of the Peace Corps volunteers aren't CIA or anything like that. They basically come in, they get trained in the culture, they immerse themselves in the culture, and then they go back, and a lot of them end up in Washington D.C. And in Washington D.C., I applied for the, what is it called? I applied to work for the State Department twice, and I never got past the written part. So,
in the U.S. or in Russia?
Yeah, in the U.S. Yeah, this is
okay.
When I was married, when I was living in D.C. So yeah, but yeah.
So they would go to Russia with the Peace Corps. They'd immerse themselves in the culture. They'd learn how to interact, how to be Russian, for lack of a better term. Then they'd go back to the U.S. and teach U.S. people about that, so that they had an understanding of it.
No, they would file themselves into the blob. It's called the blob. That's the current term for the industrial military complex, the Congressional Industrial Military Complex, is that they would become part of the State Department. Some would join the CIA. Some would join, any of the other acronyms, on the Potomac. So,
using the information they learned while being in the Peace Corps in Russia.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be like that. Why they joined.
Yeah,
okay. And
same thing with the Mormons. I mean, they go back. They immerse themselves in the language. They have their training program is exactly like the military's training program at the MTC, the Missionary Training Center. There's a great YouTube video about it. So yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm looking up stuff as you're mentioning it.
Of course you are.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just, like Steven Seagal has got Russian citizenship. Never, you were dead on about that. I mean, the CIA and the Peace Corps. There's God knows how many articles about the CIA and the Peace Corps. I mean,
no. Well, this is actually congressional. I actually dug up. This is when there was dial-up internet in 2001, 2002, and yeah, and so I dug up actually CIA. They actually said in congressional testimony that the CIA can be the Peace Corps. So, yeah.
I mean, and I don't see anything about the Mormons and the CIA or the FBI or anything like that, but I mean, there's a lot of things that you're mentioning that there's a lot of articles on Google.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're right or they're wrong. I'm just saying there's a lot of information aligning with what you're saying.
Yeah. Thank you.
Interesting.
Let me give you the website. Talks about.
Well, I pulled up your Moscow American website, but it was all in Russian.
Yeah, I think there's a button actually for English. So you can look up artemkotov.com. That's my war with the American Embassy.
It's called what?
Artem. Let me spell it. He's a gay man who tried to entrap me. Not entrap me, but just basically destroy my reputation here. And this was Thanksgiving 2019, so yeah. There's a website right there. So then I started to I started out embassy employees, American embassy employees, online. So.
Well, I mean, it's been very interesting. Thank you, Travis.
Yeah.
I gotta get going though, so I just want to let you say thank you and have a good night.
Yeah.
So
I'll send them a video tomorrow saying hi Wade, hi Mel, hi hi the last guy from
Sean.
Yeah, from somewhere in downtown Moscow. So.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, I'd like to see downtown Moscow. Other than pictures on Google, that'd be cool.
Yeah. So
Find
Mel.
something interesting.
Have I
So-
worn my welcome? Am I gonna be coming back?
We'll see. I think the season's about to end, so I don't know if we're gonna come back until next year, but we'll see.
Yeah. So it's called the spiral of silence. There's just certain things you don't talk about. So okay guys, bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Travis.
Bye.
All right, here we go. I'm going to click the button and bye.